Hey guys, Chris here for Thomann's Guitars and Basses. In today's Guitar Tech Tips, I will explain the different fret sizes and materials. In this series, I want to show you how to set up your guitars and how to fix the most common issues without using too many special tools. You've probably heard the terms jumbo, medium jumbo, stainless steel, nickel silver, fret crown, etc. Let me try to explain all of that. In case you enjoy Guitar Tech Tips, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. First, let's talk about fret sizes. The three most beloved terms are vintage or small, medium jumbo, and jumbo frets. In reality, it's not that simple. You'll find different variations of all three, and all these options can be really confusing. The top part of the fret that sits on the fretboard is called crown, and the bottom part that goes in the fret slot is called tang and stud. You have to keep the dimensions of both of these parts in mind when you're choosing new frets for your instrument. Generally speaking, you'll find frets with bigger crowns on basses and electric guitars and smaller ones on acoustics. Why is that? It's easier to fret notes and much easier to bend on bigger frets, so most electric guitar players will prefer mediums or jumbos. On basses, it has a much more practical reason. Those thick bass strings would wear off tiny frets way too fast. You'll have medium or smaller frets on acoustic guitars because you don't really bend a lot, so you don't need the bigger ones. Also, frets change the guitar's sound. You'll get the warmest and least metallic sounding guitar tone by using small frets. Dunlop is the biggest fret wire manufacturer, so here's a little help with their fret sizes. The higher the number, the smaller the fret crown. So for instance, the biggest fret they have is the 6000, which is like a super jumbo. And the smallest ones are the 62 and 6300 series, like the 6320, for example. Their most beloved jumbo is the 6100, medium jumbo is the 6105, and if you're looking for vintage Fender frets, try the 6230. But there are frets with a smaller crown that will have a wider tang and stud than, let's say, a jumbo. For example, the 6120, 30, and 40 have a flatter crown than a 6105, but a wider tang and stud. That's good for guitars where the slots are wider and other frets would not stay tight in the fretboard. Make sure the frets are not too wide for the fretboard though. If the tang and stud are too big, wood can chip, crack, and eventually the whole neck can bend to the back due to the enormous pressure of all the frets. Let's talk about fret materials. This is not very scientific, but it's interesting. Let's do a drop test. This is stainless steel, this is nickel silver. Without doubt, the most beloved and widely used fret material is nickel silver. The name's funny though, it has no silver and very little nickel in it. It's a copper alloy with, in most cases, 18% nickel added to it. Sound, that's what we consider normal. It has a nice balance between clarity and warmth. Hardness, well, it's not the hardest fret type you can get, but it's just fine for most players. I mean, there are 60, 70-year-old guitars still around with original frets, so don't let anyone tell you that these are like outdated or cheap option or whatever. Second most beloved fret material is stainless steel. There's an obvious reason for it becoming more and more successful, and that's its hardness. Stainless steel frets will last way longer than nickel, and they feel super smooth when bending. This hardness has downsides too. Be prepared to have most of your tools destroyed when you refret an instrument with stainless steel frets, or to pay a luthier way more for the same reason. Sound, stainless steel frets tend to have a hi-fi-like presence and overall just more brightness than nickel frets. When Dave Friedman was here, I asked him how come his guitars don't have stainless steel frets. He said he doesn't like their sound. Some people say all guitars should have stainless steel frets. Please don't forget about all these factors before saying something like this. Hardness, it's really hard. It's the most sturdy fret material, and that's hands down a big advantage. Next fret material is called Evo Gold. It's called gold, but it's not gold at all. It's a copper, tin, iron, and titanium alloy. Evo Gold frets are great for people with nickel allergy, and they are harder than nickel. Sound, thanks to their hardness, their sound will be somewhere between nickel and steel frets. Hardness, Evo Gold frets are exactly halfway between nickel and steel. Last fret material is brass. They're really soft, so you will not see these very often. Some vintage guitars had brass frets, and some luthiers and brands will offer this as a special option. Sound, warm and pleasant, that's a big plus. Hardness, it's not very good. They will wear off pretty fast. And now, it's time for a test ride. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions left. I'd also love to know what you want us to cover in this series. Don't be afraid of setting up and fixing your guitars yourself. It's time to become your own guitar tech. 2 hours later. Let's talk about fret materials. Next material is Evo Gold. Well,
Evil gold.
Evil Gold. Next material is called Evil Gold. Die Glocken bimmeln. Weil wenn die Glocken nicht bimmeln, dann geht der Bauer nicht zum Futtern. Sound. Thanks for the honest.
Was ist denn los?
Ah, mir ist zu kalt.